All right, group. So today we're going to review the parts of a plot diagram. And as we talk through this, we're going to think about it as a roller coaster ride. So if you think about a roller coaster ride, before you hop on, you know the name of the coaster and you know who's sitting around you. You hopefully know where you are, and perhaps a little bit of background information about what might happen as the coaster progresses. And that's very similar to the exposition, as you can see here, of a story, where at the beginning you learn the characters, perhaps some important background information about them. You learn a little bit about the setting and not only where, but when the story is taking place. And you might have an idea of sort of the basic situation of what's going to happen in the story. That leads us typically into the conflict, where you start to discover what the struggle is going to be within the story, and that kind of guides the story. Then we get into the rising action. The rising action is like when you are climbing that very exciting hill on the roller coaster and your excitement and your suspense is building. And just like in a story, this is where the conflict is increasing and the conflict is building, and we have numerous events that create anticipation in us as a reader. The climax here is just like the peak of a roller coaster when you're cresting that hill and you have a lot of excitement going on in you, and you can start to perhaps even see the glimmer of what's going to happen at the end of the coaster, just like in a story where the action has reached its peak, the conflict has reached its peak, and after that, the action's going to fall. So after the climax, we have our falling action. Just like in a roller coaster, this is where, you don't have that suspense anymore. You're sort of kind of able to enjoy the roller coaster, perhaps. And in the story, it is where the conflict is decreasing as well, and we might have a solution to the main problem. And then our resolution, just like when you're chugging into the station at the end of your roller coaster and everything's been wrapped up, there aren't any other loose ends. In a story, this is the typical happily ever after of a fairy tale, if you will, where we know what's going to happen and everything has come to a satisfying closure. Now, remember that not all stories have all 5 of these parts, and especially like cliffhangers, if you will, they might leave you off at the climax or within the falling action, and that's to lead us into the next story. After you watch this video, I'd like you to watch the next one for the birds and think through these elements of a story, and then you'll watch the final video where I will talk you through those.